Well, hello. I'm Jimmy Pardo. Welcome to Jimmy's Records and Tapes. This week, talking about movies that are about music.
We've got it on vinyl, CD and cassettes.
We've got pop, rock, heavy metal, punk, funk, rap, and new wave. All sales are vinyl, but you'll never regret all the music you get at Jimmy's Records and Tapes.
I'm loving music again. Hey, everybody, welcome into this week's Jimmy's Records and Tapes. Like the gentleman just told you before the theme song, we're going to be talking about the top films about music. And by that, I mean not documentaries. I mean like movies that have a narrative where it could be about a band starting and then they get a gig, or is it about a particular group, or is it about getting the band back together, right? That's a clue. But because of this, we're not really talking about the soundtrack. We're talking about the film. I say we head over to the brand new, exciting Jimmy's Records and Tapes DVD section. Hey, we're in the DVD section. Take a look around. Again, just like the records, alphabetical, right? By genre. You've got your westerns, you've got your dramas, you've got your comedies, you got your documentaries. These kind of fall into any of those, like depending on what movie we're talking about. So let's just jump right into it. Number 5, Purple Rain, right? It's about the kid, in Minneapolis, and he goes on a motorcycle with Apollonia. I don't think it's like that great of a movie, but I think I would have gotten way too many emails. How did you leave out Purple Rain? Why did you do one of your dumb honorable mentions to kind of squeeze it in? Because I've got other ones I'm squeezing in. So Purple Rain's 5. I liked it at the time, to be honest with you. Of course, the soundtrack's great. And Prince's acting, God rest him, is fantastic. And I say that sarcastically. He's a genius. I've said he may have done the best guitar solo in the history of music. But acting, he ain't got. That Apollonia, she's not too bad on the eyes, says an old man in a lounge chair watching it on television. Number 5, Purple Rain. Number 4, Eddie and the Cruisers. Talked about that before on this program. Controversy about Tom Berenger, right? Even in the middle of my own speech, I said, I dare you to tell me about one bad movie Tom Berenger was in, and The Big Chill came up seconds later, and that cleared the slate on my argument. Sentence that doesn't make sense. Eddie and the Cruisers. They played that at the Dollar Movie Theater near my house, and I saw it a bunch. It was a great date movie. A great down the dark side. Oh, yeah. And then, you know what? I'm not going to lie to you. The sequel, Eddie Lives, which I recognize as bad. I loved it. I loved it as well. I'm in. I'm all in on Eddie and the Cruisers. I like John Cafferty, the Beaver Brown Band, too, for that matter. I heard a rumor once that John Cafferty was the one in Jersey that everybody thought was going to get signed and be huge, and that Springsteen would just do okay. And then something happened where Springsteen got signed, and he became a star, and John Cafferty, everybody thinks he's a ripoff of Springsteen. I don't know if any of that's true, but it was some guy that owns a record label told me that. I won't tell you what record label, but it's the one that John Cafferty's on. Number 3, 1981. I'm 90% sure my parents took me to see this movie too soon. It's an animated movie. And I'm not a big fan of animation. Directed by Ralph Bakshi. American Pop. It's about 4 generations of musical Russian immigrants. And then the 4th generation, there's crazy drug use in this. And by the way, this is one of those things where they shot it all with human beings and then animated the cells to make it an animated movie. So it looks beautiful. It's a great looking movie. The soundtrack is unbelievable. You got The Doors. You got Janis Joplin, you got Jefferson Starship, Pat Benatar, the Mamas and the Papas. I don't know if it's a good movie or not. I really don't. I haven't seen it in a long time. I just know that it has a lasting impression on me. And it I'll say this, I keep my temple clean. You know that. I never really got into drugs. And I think seeing this movie is one of the reasons why I never did, which then came back to haunt me once when I was in San Francisco and I tore my meniscus, and the great Robin Williams offered me a Vicodin out of his pocket, and I turned it down because I didn't know what I don't need a pocket pill. I don't know what's going on, but I should have done it just for the story. But now I got a story about how I didn't do it. Anyway, number 3, American Pop. Again, don't know if it's great or not. At the time, I remember loving it because I like anything about music. I think that's what it comes down to. Number 2, 1984. Rob Reiner directed it. You know what I'm going to say. This one, I guess this one should have gone to 11 to be that guy that quotes that line and thinks he's the only guy that ever said it. This is Spinal Tap. Went to see this at Lincoln Mall in Matteson, Illinois, with all the guys that were in Rainbow Bridge, my high school band. Pathetic that you keep bringing it up. Those were my friends at the time. There, all right? We all had friends. We went to see this movie, and I'm not sure everybody in our group got that it was a comedy. I think some people were like, we're better than this band. I think there might have been a little bit of that, either in our group or in this other group of guys that were there. But I just remember thinking it was hysterical. And Rob Reiner was amazing as the doctor. I mean, Fred Willard is great. Paul Schaefer, when he tells them at the album signing that is a flop, I'm not asking, I'm telling you with this. Kick my ass. Great. Fran Drescher's great. The movie's great. This is Spinal Tap. If you haven't seen it and you like comedy, you're doing something wrong, man. It's just that simple. Before I get to number one, you know what that means. Here's those, as promised, honorable mentions. Hey, we're in a different part of the DVD section now. That's fun, right? We were over there, and now we're over here for the honorable mentions. Pink Floyd's The Wall. It's a nice movie. When we, my buddy Paul and I rode our bicycles to Bremerton Mall to see it, and it's you don't know what as a kid you don't know what the hell that movie's about. So we were riding our bikes home, and I happened to say this question: "What the hell was that about?" Just as we went past the odor of a skunk, and so I said, "What the hell was that movie all about?" And Paul went, "Oh, skunk." And so then for years, we said that Pink Floyd's The Wall is about a skunk. And that's fun in high school. Also, you know what? The movie Sing Street. Sing Street's a great movie. Came out in 2016. Not a lot of people saw it. It's got a great soundtrack. It's got 80s, about a kid who doesn't really fit in, starting a band. And then he falls in love with a girl. And it's a real sweet movie from 2016, directed by John Carney, called Sing Street. If you haven't seen it, it's certainly worth seeing. Also, Dreamgirls. I know it's an adaptation of a play, but it's also, at the end of the day, it's about Diana Ross and the Supremes, directed by Bill Condon. Jennifer Hudson, of course, won the Oscar for it. They got Best Film in the Golden Globe. And, of course, I famously got cut out of the movie. Famously got cut out. I sat in my trailer for 15 hours? I sat in my trailer. Mr. Pardo, your call time is at 5 a.m. or something similar to that. Could have been 6 a.m. You're up first. We're shooting you up first. You'll be home. You'll be back in your bed by 9 o'clock. I get into makeup. I'm into makeup. The girls are getting their makeup at the same time. It's exciting. I'm on a movie set. They get the makeup. They put me in the period garb. I then go to my trailer and they go, "Okay, we're gonna come and get you. You're first up." And then they come to my trailer and say, "Hey, turns out the lighting guys thought another scene was first. So they're going to shoot that scene, then they're going to shoot yours. It shouldn't be that much time." And I even offered, "Hey, you know what? I don't live that far away from here. Why don't I just go home and you guys call me?" No. We can't take that risk that you don't come back. Don't come back? Why would I not come back to my part in a major motion picture? So I'm in the trailer, which they're never comfortable. And any actor that says, "Oh no, they're great," lying, awful, right? You're on they give you a little bench to sit on with padding. Anyway. They shot the scene that is like the first time of her leaving and being in the dreams. They shot that scene for like 12 to 15 hours. They shot that scene. There was a lunch and a dinner break in between it because it's a huge part of the movie. So they shot that. And then finally at I must have been there 18 hours. At like 11:30 at night, they come and knock on the door and they go, "Okay, we're going to do it." And, the girls are on a break. We're going to do your scene in between that, during that break. So I walk onto the set, God, just gorgeous. And Jennifer Hudson and Beyonce are sitting there. They're literally 10 feet away from me, watching this. And they light it and they put a little spotlight on me with a microphone, old-time microphone. And I just have to say, "Ladies and gentlemen, for the first time, the Something Ballroom is proud to present The Dreams." And in the script, it didn't say "ladies and gentlemen." It just said, "For the first time, please welcome The Dreams." And I said to Bill Condon, and I, with a spine, first time I've ever had a spine, I said, hey, would it be helpful if I said, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome? And he said, thank you. And I didn't know if he meant thank you, mind your business, do what the script says, or thank you, that's a great idea. So I was like, oh, Christ, what do I do? So I did it as ladies and gentlemen, and he said, hey, great choice. Let's do one more for safety. We did one more. I then waved and I said, that's 15 hours of work right there. Bye, everybody. And then left. And then the day before the premiere, found out I was cut from the movie. And they ended up using a voiceover, which was how it really was in the script. But Bill Condon thought it would be great because he liked me. He actually wanted me for another role that went to somebody else. But I think it would have been so cool to be in a movie like that. And then people are just watching it going, hey, is that Jimmy Pardo? And then back into what the movie is about. Anyway, that's my last honorable mention. Now let's get back to the countdown. All right, welcome back. Here it comes. Number 1, the Blues Brothers from 1980. Right, I gave you the little hint. They're getting the band back together. They're on a mission from God. We got it's dark and we're wearing sunglasses. There's so many, Orange Whip. There's so many quotable lines from this movie. The music is great, right? You got Think by Aretha Franklin. You gotta think about what you're trying to do to me. You got the Ray Charles doing Shake a Tail Feather. Everybody's dancing out in the street. Minnie the Moocher by Cab Calloway. The great song Give Me Some Lovin' by little Stevie Winwood. I rewatched it recently. It doesn't hold up the way that it did, the way that I thought it would, but I still love it. I think it's great. I saw it opening day, the very first showing opening day. My stepdad took me. I thought he was just going to drop me off. He said, you know what, I'll stay with you and watch it. He loved it as well. There's a chance, by the way, that we saw them filming this. I'm not sure, but I remember that there was a high-speed, old-timey, like a what looked like a dated police car being chased by other police cars going down the road. And my friends and I were like, is that the Blues Brothers? Are they shooting the Blues Brothers here? And we looked up, and we think we saw cameras up on the roof of these buildings, but there's no way that happened. There's no way that they didn't close off the road to have this high-speed chase, and they're just going to let 3 idiots, hey, what's going on here? That said, of course, there's a famous story about how I stopped at a record store here in California to buy a Peter Frampton album to get signed because when he was on Conan, and I walked into the record store and brought it up to the counter, and the guy didn't know what to do, and then I gave him some money, and he's like, okay, and then he walked away, and turns out I walked into a hot set. They were shooting some sort of a scene for a movie there, and somehow Dummy just walked in as if it was business as usual. Nobody stopped me. They probably thought I was part of the crew or something. And I don't know, maybe that guy pocketed the money. Who knows? What I'm saying is, if that could happen, then maybe this Blues Brothers thing happened. Number 1, directed by John Landis, 1980, The Blues Brothers. Hey, welcome back. It's time for this week's Jimmy's Choice. You know how this works. You can email me or you on Twitter, hashtag Jimmy's Choice. Give me 2 artists, and I got to pick one. That's how this works. It's simple. It's arbitrary most of the time, but they're fun to do. This one comes to us via Twitter, @Invinciblon, and he says, men, at work or without hats? I thought that was fun. Men at work, of course, it's a mistake, overkill. Who could it be now? Be Good Johnny. Colin Hay's solo stuff is terrific. I did a pilot once called Glory Days that Colin Hay was in, that I hosted, and he was the artist that I was interviewing. But then Men Without Hats, it's got the iconic safety dance. You could dance if you want to. You could leave your friends behind, because if your friends don't dance, and if they don't dance, they're no friend of mine, right? And then you go, well, Jim, that's the only song they had. Wrong. They had Pop Goes the World in, I want to say, 1988 or 89. Pop Goes the World. Off the album Pop Goes the World. That one did okay. It's actually a pretty good album. It's got a couple of other great songs. Jenny Wore Black. Then he had one more album called In the 21st Century, blah, 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 or something like. My point is, they're not the joke that everybody says they are. But when it comes to this, if I'm going to do Men at Work or Without Hats, I got to go Men at Work. Hey, that's it for this week's Jimmy's Records and Tapes. Appreciate you stopping by. If you liked it, subscribe, hit the bell, click like, tell your friends about it, so on and so forth. Don't forget, we got that Spotify playlist. Go and just search Jimmy's Records and Tapes, songs from all 4 seasons of the show. I'm on Twitter at Jimmy Pardo. And of course, I host the award-winning podcast, Never Not Funny. So come over there from time to time if you want. If you dug this, you'll definitely dig that. It's just more of this nonsense. So until I see you, and I don't know when that's going to be, the record is back in its sleeve.